Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. My name's Laura Nisbet. I'm the lead nurse for ADHD in Southampton and Portsmouth CAMHS. And the reason I'm with you today is to give you a quick update on the ADHD medication shortage that's been happening across both cities. So as you may remember, we met about a year ago now in September last year when the NHS England gave us a directive to stop prescribing new ADHD medications to young people because of the medication shortage. So at that point, there was a shortage nationally of about 2/3 of ADHD medications. And we made the decision at that time to stop prescribing, and we had to cancel the young people who had been booked in from October to December with the hope that we could start re-prescribing again from January. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and we weren't able to do that. Over that period of time between September and sort of January, what we were able to do was work with the young people and the families who already were accessing medication to ensure that we could continue as much as possible their medication treatment. So that might have meant swapping or finding alternative medications or trying to give sort of longer prescriptions in some cases if possible. And for some young people, unfortunately, that also meant that they had to have a break from their medication. And we've been monitoring the system sort of ever since, really, in terms of trying to understand what medications are in stock across the city, and if not, when they're due to come back in. Things seemed to pick up a little bit in April, and we made a decision along with our colleagues in Hampshire CAMHS to restart prescribing at that point, and we were able to offer those appointments that we cancelled at the end of the year. And since then, we've continued to monitor the supplies. But unfortunately, I'm here today to tell you that that's ongoing. We're not quite where we hope to be. It seems to wax and wane. There's no rhyme or reason in terms of how medications do come back into stock or how long they stay in stock for. And we're tentatively sort of prescribing, sort of explaining to families that this is the situation that we're in, that hopefully we're prescribing medications that we know that are in stock, but it may mean that a month down the line, 2 months down the line, that may not be the case, and sort of having to make those decisions with family as we start to prescribe. But we're trying very hard to make sure that we are going with the most up-to-date information that we have. Often that information we rely on families and pharmacies to let us know. Unfortunately, we haven't had many updates from NHS England since that original mandate last year. So we do rely on families to let us know if they're struggling, but we're also asking families to try multiple pharmacies before they come back to us, because what we do know is that particular pharmacies are able to get medications that others aren't, and again, we're not quite sure why, but it's worth just sort of shopping around really to see if that's possible or not. So unfortunately, I haven't got much good news, but it's very much around we are still prescribing. We are still slowly offering appointments to young people who've been waiting for ADHD medication. But in terms of accessing medication, that can still be quite difficult. And that's not something that unfortunately CAMHS have any control over. And it continues to be a national problem, both across young people and adults treatment for ADHD. And that's the same across NHS and private services as well. So I don't know if you
Thanks,
have
Laura.
any questions. That's a short and sweet, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we are trying to work with families, and if we can have prescribe an alternative, we will try to do that. But we're also really conscious that it doesn't help the young person to continually swap medications as well, and that can make sort of coherence, concordance to sticking to medications really difficult as well, especially if you've had a medication that's worked well and then we swap it to something that maybe isn't working as well or comes with side effects. So we're really conscious of trying to make good decisions while managing this sort of situation, really, which
Yeah.
makes it really hard across the board, I think.